fastest show in sports.
If the Miami Dolphins do not at least get to the conference championship game this year, they have to get to that. Chris Grier, the general manager, Mike McDaniel, the head coach, have to be fired. You've got to walk in there with a bottle of bleach, and you got to clean that thing out, because some of the personnel moves that Grier has made are mystical, to say the least. And when you still have the backup quarterback is Zach Wilson, when you have a quarterback that's already there, that you know there's a very good chance that Tua is going to suffer another concussion this year, and he's going to be out for a lengthy period of time. And sure, they're putting people like Fitzpatrick in the mix right now, but these guys are on their last legs. And it goes to the owner, who basically said, well, don't worry about it. They're okay for 2025. He could have subtitled that by going, but if you don't get it done this year, you're out and looking for jobs. And I don't see either Grier or McDaniel becoming hot commodities if they're out there. But Kevin's made a good point, as we've been talking about this, Mike, is that McDaniel's a new level of coach in the NFL, and maybe he's where the coaching is going these days. Either way, they're fired if they don't make the conference championship game.
Here's my take on McDaniel real quick. I hate the term, if he's not a taskmaster, he's a player's coach. And, sort of you get the hard ass in there, Schottenheimer types. Eventually he wears that as welcome. You bring in the soft guy. And Bill Walsh defied every stereotype there ever was about being a hard ass, because he was such a cerebral guy and he was very successful at it. But I don't know, something I know it's a cliche. Mike McDaniel does not inspire me at all. I don't think anybody would run through a wall for that guy. I look at him and I go, I feel like going up to him and going, hey, Mike, your pants are on fire. And he would look down at them slowly and look up at you and go, why, yes, Mike, they are. He's a dullard. He's a dullard.
He's the esoteric. He's the esoteric, thoughtful, intelligent, brainy coach who, in many ways, when something happens, you would expect an old-time coach to basically get in a quarterback's face or the receiver's face if a play was wrong. You come back to a McDaniel and it's like, don't worry, John, everything's okay. It's going to be fine. We'll talk about it in film study and look at it, but you're going to be just fine.
Mike,
inspire me, damn it! Give me something to fight for.
This story's for you, because I told Ed this off the air before we got started, before you jumped in. So last year, anytime we had a game on ESPN Radio and we had time during the week, I would talk to a player or one player from each team that we were doing for Football Sunday. Yeah. And anytime we had the Dolphins, last year we had Miami, I got Raheem Mostert, the running back for the Dolphins. And Raheem and I are on the air, and I asked the question, it went out for public consumption. I said, Raheem, I need you to kind of explain Mike McDaniel to me here, Coach McDaniel. And he started chuckling right away. I said, this guy seems like a diabolical offensive genius. He's going to diagram some. I said, he looks like he's going to diagram some pretty cool stuff when he's got the personnel, and it's going to work. Like when everyone is functioning, that first year he got there, that offense was pretty good. I said, but he doesn't seem like the kind of guy that I want to lead. Having me lead a motivational speech for. And Mostert just started cackling. And I said, so that's accurate. I said, we're not running through brick walls. He says, he's not the guy giving the breakdown speech in the locker room. Let's put it that way.
Tua Tagovailoa is a really, really good quarterback coming out of college. I'm one of the only people who saw this and said, this kid's got talent. But a lot of people hammered him right away for a number of reasons, off the field, on the field, whatever it is. But at this point, if you're Chris Grier and Mike McDaniel, you look at Tua and say, he is one shot away from being out of the NFL, maybe even being mortally wounded at this point. Right. And I know a lot of people out there are going to say, well, it's just a concussion. He just had his bell rung. It's a lot more than that, kids, and we won't go off into concussions here. No. But he's that one shot away from maybe becoming a vegetable. And you've got to sit and worry about that.
A lot of people think he shouldn't even be playing now, including guys that I grew up with in Hawaii. He's from Hawaii. He's from the same town that I went to high school in, Of course, he was so good that the local high school I went to couldn't keep him, and he ended up going to St. Louis or Kahuku or one of the powers. But the bottom line is, this guy, people worry for his health. There's a couple times I didn't think he should have been on the field after he took shots. And, part of that is the coach. I'm sorry.
I have a friend of mine who is one of the top neurosurgeons in the world, and we talk occasionally about this. I have known him for 20 years. And right after the first one, he came back to me and said, this guy does not belong on the football field, period, end of story, get him out, he's going to die. And every single time something happens, I get a message from him on Tua. He goes, this guy is one step closer to becoming a vegetable. He needs to be off the field. But the fact that Greer and McDaniels, specifically Greer, have not prepared this team. Look, we can go back and I can make a quick comparison here to Mike Tomlin. They didn't prepare for the fact that they were going to get to the point at quarterback where they'd have to put a 41-year-old relic in there instead of being ready with somebody and getting the next generation ready. They haven't done that in Miami. Zach Wilson, come on. Cut the nonsense here. They're not ready for this. Tua goes down, the season's over.
Can I take you back to this? And this goes to Greer, but it also goes to where we are in the NFL. When Tua was up for a contract extension, he was like, it's now called the next in line. You may not necessarily deserve that quarterback extension. Trevor Lawrence got what, $50 million right after Tua or right before Tua? It's somewhere in that line. They all got him together. Did Trevor deserve that contract? No. But you had to give him the money or you lose him. I did not think the Dolphins should have given Tua the money. You have to at some point you have to make a decision. Do we give a quarterback that money who may be mediocre? And in this case of Tua, a quarterback who is good. He's good. But the risk of him going down for either for a long period of the season or forever exists. And I'm not talking blown knee. I'm talking here.
Yeah.
Right? So there's I think part of this goes back to the Dolphins were put in that position of it's now Tua's turn for the kick at the can of the big free agent deal. They went, what do we do? Because if we don't, he's walking. And that also is the trouble with today's NFL. No matter how good of a quarterback you are, if you were a high draft pick and your turn comes up, you're going to get that second paycheck because someone inevitably is going to take a shot at you.
Sure.
Look at Kirk Cousins. I mean, he was a next in line, and the Vikings to this day regret paying him.
But that's just the point with something like this. You have to prepare for the inevitability. It is inevitable that Tua is going to take a shot this season that is going to be inadvertently to his head. He's going to bang his head against the field. His helmet will strike it, and it will eventually... Because look, what people don't realize is concussion. Your brain is sitting there floating in a viscous fluid, and all it does is it works off your spinal cord, and the minute it hits, then this is what's happening in your head.
Oh, my God. Just you talking about that hurts. Thinking about watching it on TV. Oh, God.
I missed a neurosurgeon.
You know what? I miss when we...
But a different one years ago explained it to me very briefly for those of you watching on YouTube. The inside of the skull, the outside of the skull is smooth. The inside of the skull is filled with little stalactites and stalagmites that come off the inside of the skull. And as the brain floats and as the brain hits them, it's a brain bruise. It bangs up against them and it injures the brain. Tua has been injured how many times now? And one more time, and this guy needs to be out of the game, period. And
look what it did.
They're done if he's done.
Yeah, look what it did to Pat McAfee, and he was a punter. I mean, geez, look at his head. Sorry,
leave it to Mike Weiss to make some real sense in this conversation. Damn it!
That's all, folks.